In a peaceful village surrounded by rolling hills, there was a river that flowed gently through the land. This river was the lifeblood of the village, providing water for the crops and fish for the people. The villagers respected the river and lived in harmony with its rhythms, except for one man, a fisherman named Daisuke. Daisuke was known throughout the village for his short temper. He would often fish at the river, and whenever he had a poor catch or faced any difficulty, his anger would flare up. He would curse the river, throw his nets in frustration, and stomp away in a fury, convinced that the river was to blame for his troubles. One afternoon, after an especially fruitless day of fishing, Daisuke's temper reached its peak. He threw his net into the river one last time, and when it came back empty, he shouted at the top of his lungs, "Why do you torment me, river? Why do you refuse to give me fish?" As his angry voice echoed through the hills, an old monk named Jiro, who lived in a small hermitage nearby, approached Daisuke. The monk had a reputation for wisdom and serenity, and he often walked by the river to meditate. "Why do you shout at the river, my friend?" Jiro asked softly. Daisuke, still fuming, replied, "This river mocks me. I work hard, but no matter what I do, I catch nothing. It's as if the river is against me." The monk smiled gently. "Come, sit with me for a moment," he said, leading Daisuke to a large flat rock by the river's edge. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the soothing sound of the water flowing by. After some time, Jiro spoke. "This river, Daisuke, has been here for centuries. It flows calmly, day after day, regardless of the troubles or joys of those who live by it. It does not change its course out of anger or pleasure. It simply flows, carrying water and life along its path." Daisuke listened, his anger slowly fading as he took in the peaceful scene around him. Jiro continued, "Your anger, like the river, can either flow freely or be blocked. When you let it flow without resistance, it will pass through you and leave you calm. But when you allow it to build up, like a dam, it will overflow and cause destruction, both to you and those around you." Daisuke looked down at the calm water and asked, "But how do I let my anger flow away, instead of building up inside me?" The monk picked up a small stone and handed it to Daisuke. "Hold this stone," he said. "Imagine that it represents your anger." Daisuke held the stone tightly in his hand, feeling its weight. "Now," Jiro said, "throw it into the river." Daisuke hesitated, but then he did as the monk instructed. He threw the stone into the river, and they watched as it made a small splash before sinking to the bottom. The water rippled for a moment, then returned to its calm, steady flow. "Do you see how the river accepted the stone?" Jiro asked. "It did not resist, nor did it hold on to the ripples. The stone is gone, but the river remains calm." Daisuke nodded, understanding the lesson. "I see now. I must let my anger go, like the stone, and allow it to be carried away by the river of my thoughts. Holding on to it only causes more ripples in my mind." The monk smiled. "Exactly. When you feel anger rising, remember the river. Let it flow through you and away, and soon peace will return." From that day on, whenever Daisuke felt anger bubbling up, he would close his eyes and imagine throwing a stone into the river, watching as it was carried away. His temper began to soften, and he found more success in his fishing as his mind became calmer and clearer. Holding on to anger is like trying to dam a river. It only leads to overflow and destruction. By learning to let go and allow our emotions to flow through us, we can find peace and clarity, just as a river returns to its calm after a stone is cast into it.